guys, what's up? It's your boy Trix. Today is going to be another long one. We're going to be doing building web applications with Spring Boot and Kotlin. So, just to say, yesterday I forgot to say this. I fixed my webcam, and it's because for some reason I was having issues with the graphics driver on my laptop, and for some reason when I was opening OBS, it was defaulting to the integrated webcam on my laptop. So obviously because I'm not using that, I didn't know, but fixed it, switched the settings in OBS, and now everything's fine. Some weekends I might not stream just in case like the NVIDIA driver or Optimus driver for OpenSUSE has like a bad merge or like has a bug or something, like what happened last time. But most of the time I should be able to roll backwards enough for my kernel version and it should undo it. But just in case someone's like, oh, I haven't streamed that week, probably because my laptop's having issues, I will eventually get a new system when I have enough money. Until then, enjoy the budget streams. Anyway, the tutorial shows you how to build efficiently a sample blog application combining Power, Spring Boot, and Kotlin. Okay, so first when you create an application, which can be done in other ways. So, okay, so we want Gradle Kotlin into the, okay, if I do this, what? Interesting. So we want these ones, right? Then we want it to artifact coordinate to be blog. So we want that to be blog. Then Spring Web. Okay, so we want add Spring. Whoops, typed too fast. Spring Web. We want mustache. We want JPA. We want H2. And we want DevTools. There you go. Anything else? Nope. Cool. Gen. No, I want to chuck it into, I think it's learning, programming. Yeah, let me chuck it there. There we are. Let me just cd into there we are. Cool. Oh, by the way, I figured out how to fix my IEMs. I don't know if I talked about this on stream before, but some people will know if you've seen like some of my videos. I use IEMs, right? And I use min drop arias, let show S12s, and dusks, right? So dusks are like my go-to when I'm at home, just because when I'm listening to music, it's like always whack out the best like thing to listen to music on, right? Like when I'm at work, I'm using my NC700s, my Bose NC700s. I'm saying Bose because you can get AKG NC700 as well. Yeah. And when I'm commuting, I used to use the S12s, but I switched over to Galaxy Buds just because of ANC. Like when, in terms of music, like sound quality wise, I still stand by what I've said before, where you cannot beat. I want to say you can't beat IEMs in the space of sound quality wise when compared to headphones and Galaxy Buds if you're just going purely off of sound quality, right? But if you're like adding in some other stuff like soundstage, imaging, you know what, even imaging I'd say IEMs do a lot better, but soundstage I'd say are a lot better on headphones. My Bose NC700s aren't a good example of that, just because like soundstage wise they feel it's not like in head but kind of like out ahead, and like I still think they have worse imaging than my I don't think they have worse imaging than the Arias, but I think they have worse imaging than the S12s. But to be fair, S12s are planar, and my dusts are like dust, right? Like it blows all of these out the water. But when it comes to like ANC, I don't think you can really like. There's passive noise cancelling, right? Which is what everything offers. Like if you have like mufflers or something, that's like passive noise cancelling because you literally have something that's in between your ears and the outside world. So it's just like cancelling out some of the noise, but it's passive. So it's not actually doing anything based on your surroundings. So like when you're listening to music through IEMs or something, if you're commuting, cool. Like you won't be able to hear someone like having a conversation next to you, but loud noises aren't going to be blocked out by IEMs. But then if you do it in comparison to like something which has ANC, because it has microphones, it's able to tune out a lot more. But that's basically me saying for commuting, I'd say use something with ANC. You don't have to splurge. Use something with ANC, but purely for like music listening, you can't really beat IEMs or like I want to say reference grade headphones, like maybe HD600s. They're obviously like there are better headphones than the HD600s. I'm just saying there's like an entry point because lots of people don't know. Like there's Samsung SR50s, I think. There's not Grados. Grados will be like more my preference, but lots of people wouldn't like it because they're kind of sparkly. What else? HD600s, HD6XX, 6XXs. Maybe HD650s. But like play around with it. But what I'm trying to say is like get headphones based on your use case essentially. Like now I have no idea how many. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 sets of devices that I can use to listen to music, and I know that my my Galaxy Buds, since I've got them, are like clutch when it comes to commuting. So these are staying with me. The Bose headphones are clutch when it comes to like meetings and stuff because that has a sick mic. Compared to this, I think I'd go with that. It's just this is more convenient when I'm streaming. Sorry. And then between my Arias, my S12s and my Dusks, my Arias I don't know if I would still listen to. And that's like a genuine like from my chest, like off my chest. I don't know if I'd still listen to these, just because in terms of in terms of tuning. Okay, let's go and go for the nice things first. Tuning wise, I think these. I'm sorry that this has turned into like an IEM stream for like the first 10-15 minutes of whatever this is. Anyway, soundstage wise, I wouldn't say that. Obviously, the dusts are better. Like they're completely different price bracket. Like it has an insane amount of drivers. So I'm not gonna use the dust as a comparison here. It's kind of unfair for me to do my S12s as well because that's a planar driver and this is a liquid crystal diaphragm driver. But they are both single drivers, so I'm going to compare them even though it's kind of unfair. I do not think I would still use Arias when I have the S12s. I would consider upgrading my S12s to the IE200s, but I've seen lots of people review them and have mixed feelings about the tuning, which is It's because the IE200s are basically the same price as S12s, so if my S12s were to die, I would just replace them with IE200s. But you need to do a couple fixes to make sure that you have proper bass response, which are kind of annoying. But if you don't use those tips and you use like aftermarket tips like SpinFit 100 pluses, like what I use most of the time, you should be fine. But in terms of soundstage imaging, and technicalities, I would go with the S12. Tuning depends on the song. I am torn with tuning between these because the Arias make certain songs sound better, and then the S12s makes lots of songs sound good, but there'll be that one song that the treble makes it sound very funny. Like you'll hear some high pitched tone, and it's like, eh. But then on the arias, everything just sounds normal. So versatility wise, you can use the arias for way more things. The S12s, like you can't really watch like a YouTube video with S12s, like that's gonna sound way weird. But you could with arias just because they're not tuned in, they're not like a niche tuning. Yeah, that's the best way to explain it. S12, I'm pulling off of one of Gears Audio's videos with Timmy where he's like, the S12s have a niche tuning because of that treble, the treble peak that most planar IEMs have, which is fair enough. But I enjoy that tuning, which is like I enjoy dust in the tuning on my dust, right? But I know I could like consume any type of content with my dust and I just enjoy it. Arias are kind of like that, but I wouldn't want to do it because my arias are just like kind of boring to use. The dust basically feel like a very well tuned closed back headphone. Like the imaging isn't like magnificent. It's not like you're in a theater, but it's still outside of your head a bit. The S12s, you still have that inside of your head type of feeling, but everything just sounds a lot cleaner, if that makes sense. I'm rambling. Obviously, I'm rambling, but I just say if you haven't tried IEMs before, I think now is quite a good time to get into it. You don't have to be like me and like have multiple sets and like splurge, but like if you're considering it, like you can get pretty decent stuff for like, I want to say $20. Like the Tongzu Wanna and the Moondrop Quarks DSP are like 20 quid. If you don't like noise floor, like you don't like static when you listen to music, then don't get the Quarks DSP. But to be fair, you could just turn up the music to a point where you don't hear that noise floor. I know it annoys me. That's why I don't use like any. I used to use my Fio UTWS3s with my arias, but then at one point, like the noise floor on the UTWS3s just annoyed me too much. Where I was like, "Fuck it, no, I'm not using these." So I just used wired IEMs when I want to listen to like high fidelity music, and when I want to just go outside, I use wireless because trust me, when you're on public transport, it's not fun having wires. But yeah, I'd recommend the Wanna if you want like if you're not into the hobby yet and you just want to give it a go, because they're probably going to sound a lot better than like cheapo earbuds that you'll buy anyway. If you want to be blown away, I'm not going to say get something over like 100 quid because that's like a very big commitment to someone who's not like in the hobby yet. But if you want to get blown away by a set that's like under 100, I would say go with Truth Air Zero or Truth Air Hexa. The only reason I recommend the Truth Air Zero and the Hexa are because they're tuned very similarly to the Moondrop variations, and I know that the Moondrop variations are like up there in terms of like god tier IEMs that people could like happily die with. I wouldn't buy them just because there's a different IEM that has recently come out called the Zen's Manga Top, which I want to give a try, but it's like 500. I want to lay off until like one of these die, because switching between 4 IEMs is gonna be tough. Like I have 3 IEMs and then 2 and then an earbud and a headphone. Like I don't even get to listen to all of them in the same week. So I know adding another one to that is gonna make things even more difficult. So I'm just gonna wait until one of these like properly can't be revived. But I think for people that haven't got into the hobby, either like if they're not willing to spend more than 50, get the Tongzu Wanna or the Moondrop Quarks DSP. If you want to spend a bit more, get the Truth Air X Clinical Zero. It's only $50. And then if you want to spend a bit more than that, instead of getting the Arias like I have, get the Truth Air Hexa. The only thing that I want to say with like IEMs and that is don't worry about how many drivers there are in an IEM, because even like KZ, like they've released IEMs with like 16, no, not 16, like 7 drivers in one side of the earphone, and I'm like, okay, cool, but it doesn't sound nice. Like it comes down to other things besides number of drivers. There's tuning, there's imaging, there's soundstage, there's technicalities, there's all of that, right? There are multiple things to an IEM earbud headphone as well for all types of things, for all types of music listening devices. I want to say music listening devices to incorporate like speakers, subwoofers, headphones, IEMs, everything. Do research, figure out what you like, figure out what you don't like. That's why like I'm saying, don't start out with like an end game tier IEM because you don't know if you're gonna like that tuning. Like lots of people will recommend getting the, if you like a neutral tuning, get the Automatic ER2 SE, right? But if you've seen the IEM, you might be able to stomach the fit because the fit is kind of awkward. But if you might not know if you like neutral tuning, right? You might buy it, wear it for a while, and then think, okay, cool, this is okay. I don't understand the hype. And then one day when you try like I don't know a $20 or £20 IEM, which is like bass boosted, you're like, oh, this I like this a lot more. Why is this £100 IEM? I don't like it. It's because you have a different taste, right? Like lots of people like clinical like flat IEM. Some of them like bass boosted. Some of them like me like treble boosted. Some of them like, what was the one that was? I think it was the six X. I think no, the 8XX that dropped that done for the HD 800s, where like they scooped out the mids, which is like lots of people wouldn't like it, but I do understand like someone might if they like don't want that vocal presence and they're listening to I don't know classical music maybe. But even then, like there's gonna be something in the mids. But everybody has their own type of tuning that they like, right? Like not everybody's gonna hear the same thing the same way to everyone, especially with IEMs and especially with headphones because the distance it all depends. The tuning is affected by how far away it is in your ear to the driver, right? So like that's what I that's why when you're like wearing IEMs, people will tell you to do like change the tips if it's not sitting in your ear correctly. Because for one, you need to have a good seal in the IEM for to have proper. I think it's bass response or treble proper. One of them one of them affects treble and one of them affects bass. I've forgotten which one it is, but depending on how it's how it's sat in your ear, if there's a good seal and how far away it is from your actual eardrum, all affects how it will sound. So you want to get as close to your ear as possible with as best a seal as possible. So just bear that in mind. That's what I'm saying. Try out some budget stuff with different tuning. Don't always get the same thing with the same tuning. Try out different tuned IEMs in the budget category, and then try to find an IEM that's like in a higher category that sounds similar to the IEM that you like, and then just keep going from there, right? I'm not saying that you have to have just one IEM in that category, right? You can have multiple IEMs in that category. Or if you like multiple tunings, like what I do, but I like treble boosted IEMs and I also like bass boosted IEMs, right? I just don't like flat IEMs because I think flat is kind of like, it's kind of boring. When it bass boosted is nice for like lots of content, and then you have treble boosted, which is very good for like female vocals and stuff like that. Whereas with neutral, I feel like it's only good if I feel like you have to be in that headspace to like neutral sounding IEMs. Yeah. Or like you've already listened to music on like reference speakers or something, so you want to have that experience. I don't really care about that. I just want to listen to a track with a tuning that I like, if that makes sense. But that's what I'm saying. You can buy multiple the same tuning, multiple different tunings, mix, match, whatever. Because like I think Clinical made a video about this as well, where he was like, you can have your cake, but there's like a limit to it, right? Like cool, you're having chocolate cake, you can have chocolate cake every day, or you can mix and match and like switch up what type of cake you're having. You can try like raspberry cake, vanilla cake, caramel cake, or you can try anything, right? Like it's okay to step out your comfort zone and try something else. But yeah, that's what I want to say about IEMs and me complaining that I have so much to listen to, and I have to switch between 3 now that I revived my old ones. Oh, I've forgotten how to. I didn't even say how I revived them. I revived them by literally just cleaning them. Like, literally, like, I couldn't hear out one side of the IEMs. I literally just chucked them in water, cleaned them, let them dry out for like a day, and then they just started sounding fine again. And I was like, well, fuck, that's sick. Anyway, cool. Using IntelliJ. That's unfortunate. If you're using a Maven build, you can skip to the dedicated section. In addition to physical the default frame includes a Kotlin Spring plugin which will automatically open classes and methods on like Java. The default qualifier is final in Kotlin, annotated or meta annotated with Spring annotations. It's useful to be able to create configuration at transactional beans without having to add the open qualifier required by cglib proxy, for example. In order to be able to use GPU plugin is also enabled. It generates no arg constructors for new class and two with entity mapped or superclass. Okay, so I need to VI in this order. Spring 1.10 JVM and GPU. It's all there. Cool. One of the Kotlin's key features is null safety, which cleanly deals with null values at compiler time rather than bumping into the famous null pointer exception at runtime. This makes applications safer through nullability declarations and expressing value or no value semantics without paying the cost of wrappers like optional. Note that Kotlin allows using functional constructs where nullable values. Check out this comprehensive guide to Kotlin null safety. Although Java does not allow one to express null safety in its type system, the Spring framework provides null safety of the whole Spring framework API via tooling. Friendly annotation declared in the org Spring framework lang package. By default, types from Java's API used in Kotlin are recognized as platform types for which null checks are relaxed. Kotlin supported for JSR through 105 annotations plus Spring nullability annotations provide null safety for the whole Spring framework API to Kotlin developers with the advantage of dealing with null-related issues at compile time. This feature can be enabled by adding XJSR 305 compiler flag with the strict options. Cool. So if I cat my build, I just want to see where it is. Kotlin compile. It's already there. Wonderful. 2 Kotlin specifies specific libraries are required. Such Spring Boot web applications are configured by default. Kotlin Reflect is a Kotlin reflection library. Nice. The other day I was doing reflection for work. It is sick. Genuinely. I've never had so much fun trying to like figure out how to grab something when you're not supposed to, because it feels wrong, but also like really fun trying to like grab stuff that you should not have access to. For people that don't know what reflection is, it's basically, so for example, you have a class that has a bunch of like private methods, private functions or whatever, or private variables. Normally you wouldn't be able to access that without having like a getter or a setter that's public, right? The way that reflection works is all of that just gets thrown out the window. You want something, you literally say, hey, I want this. Set it that if it's private or like final or something, you set it that it's accessible to, that the accessibility for it is true, so you can access it, and you do whatever you want with it. You want to store it, you want to modify it, you want to access it, you want to read it, whatever. You just say, hey, I want this, give it to me, let me access it, and then do whatever you want. It's like the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And then it's like, the only like thing that's kind of annoying is you have to declare everything by like the name of it, like as a string. So let's say you want to get a variable or something, you have to know the variable name and then specify in a string you want this. So you can't just do whatever class dot and then the name of the thing you want. because if it's private, you won't know what the name is. But if you say the string of it, you have to say, okay, cool, I want this, give it to me. And then because that might not exist or might change in the future or something like that, you have to account for like a ton of exceptions. But it's just really fun doing it. It was really fun. Yeah. Anyway, Jackson module Kotlin adds support for serialization and deserialization of Kotlin classes and data classes. Single constructor classes can be used automatically, and there's a secondary constructor or static factories are also supported. Jackson's actually pretty cool. I used it at work as well. It's like you can read and we've used it to read from JSON files and like YAML files, but it's pretty cool. Like you can load config, you can do other stuff with it, and it's just like, oh, you declare a class that maps each parameter, like object that you've defined in your JSON, and it just maps it straight away to the class that you defined. Obviously you need to like do some type matching to make sure that you're not like assigning a integer to a string and stuff like that, but other than that, it's pretty cool. Let me just, okay, data JPA, mustache, starter web, Jackson, reflect. Ooh, it has an interesting std lib jdk8, h2, dev tools, and test. Cool. I'm just going to leave that jdk8 in there just because it might be something that's been added because of 3.0.2. Recent versions of H2 require special configuration to properly escape reverse keywords like user.src. Okay, so hang on. cd src main resources application. Whoops. Cool. Let me just doink and then boop, and then cool. You can Spring Boot Gradle plugin automatically use Kotlin version declared via the Kotlin Gradle plugin. You can now take a deeper look at the generated application. Understanding the Maven build. I'm just going to skip over the Maven stuff because it's basically the same. It's just in Maven, instead of declaring it in like this, you declare it in an XML file. Where depending on... it's up to you if you like it or you don't. I don't really have a preference. Like, looking at it, it's not that difficult. This just seems very verbose for what you're doing. Whereas this seems a lot easier to write and read, but up to you, honestly. That's fine. Yeah, like, no, this is the dependency section, right? And yeah, that's the dependency section. This is the dependency section in Gradle. The dependency section in Maven is quite large for what it's doing when you compare it to Gradle, which is why I'm saying it's up to you. If you want to be verbose, you can, because like the one benefit of this is you're separating everything out, right? Like if you want to do versioning or stuff like that, it's probably a little bit easier to do with Maven, I want to say, but again, with Gradle, you're only changing one line, and you just need to remember that colon separate package module version. So, okay. Oh, fudge. Oh, no. There we are. So, compared to Java, you can notice the lack of semicolons. Yeah. Just normal in Kotlin. Basically, Kotlin is just like Java. It just is less verbose. If you like that in your language, go ahead. I prefer Flutter because it's basically like one-to-one Java. You can use a lot of Java libraries in Kotlin. I'm not sure if you can do that in Flutter actually. I haven't tried that, but from what I have used of both languages, I use Kotlin a little bit. I don't really have an opinion on Kotlin. I still think it's a lot better than React Native, just because I purely from the bottom of my heart do not like JavaScript. I'm sorry for for every JavaScript fanboy out there. It's just not my cup of tea. I hope you understand. But in terms of like between Kotlin and Flutter, don't really have an opinion. They're both pretty good languages, honestly. I want to say Kotlin's a lot easier if of course, if you're only compiling for one architecture, right? Go with Kotlin, because you can't really compile for iOS or desktop or whatever with Kotlin. But you can do web apps. Flutter's a lot nicer, just because I've used it after doing Java. But there are weird things in Flutter that's like, you're supposed to be platform independent, and now you're having me write code that's dependent on the platform. Like, what's this? There's hang-ups on both languages, right? And like, one of the biggest things I don't like about Flutter is your package size is fucking huge, because it'll be like, oh yeah, it's going to strip out everything that's not related to that architecture, but because you've written a bunch of fucking code to like accommodate another architecture in your code base, your package is still going to be massive, because you have a bunch of code that's just not going to be executed, because you had to have a ton of edge cases that if this is run on this system, fair enough. Like, it's not that big, but compared to something that's written in native like Kotlin, is a lot larger. I've seen some comparisons that are like, oh, it has the same performance. It has nearly same performance as native code, like maybe a little, like 1 or 2% behind. And then they're like, well, that's the whole point. People use native, right? They want it as fast as possible. Like, you're not going to switch people that are using native over to Flutter if they are already using native. Like, it's slower. Anyway. Compared to Java, you can notice the lack of semicolons, lack of brackets, and empty classes. You can add some if you need to declare beans via bean annotation and the use of run application top level function. Kotlin's idiomatic alternative to Spring application.run, yeah, and can be used to customize application with the following syntax. Okay. Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, shit. When I need to whip out IntelliJ, I know. And you might be like, oh, why am I whipping out IntelliJ? That bean, but it has not that. This banner.mode.off, I guarantee is not in the standard library. That is going to be in a library that needs to be imported. Let me just open it. Let's do blog. Just gotta wait a minute. Cool. Just gotta wait for that to... Oh, it's got an index as well. I should have just opened it straight away. Yeah, shite. Main Kotlin. I don't know if IntelliJ is smart enough to analyze Kotlin files, you know. Because I haven't seen anybody do Kotlin inside of IntelliJ. They just use Android Studio. I got it installed, but I don't want to open it because that shit's heavy. Like, you guys can probably notice, yeah, my laptop's like, the webcam is a bit slow right now, right? Like, It's slow because IntelliJ is heavy. Oh no. So now we're going to make the mustache templates, which will be interesting. So this is in templates, new file, header.mustache. I'm not installing any plugins just because IntelliJ is already bloody heavy. I don't want to make it any more heavy. There. Main function. I don't know if this will work, you know. It's still indexing. I'm still not sure what that battery warning is for. I've been listening to a lot of Korean hip hop, so if anybody recognizes that song, I'll be very surprised. I didn't know you can use JUnit. I thought that was exclusive to Java. Interesting. Oh, I'm guessing this syntax is going to be Buki and bloody Kotlin, though. Is it doing okay?
Bro, it is dying while it's indexing. Come on. Yeah, that's my dot Gradle folder, come on. It's definitely struggling. You know what, let's just continue while that struggles. JUnit 5 now used by default in Spring Boot provides various features very handy with Kotlin. This allows you to use non-nullable value properties and possibility to use before all and after all and regular non-static method. That's sick. For the sake of this example, let's create an integration test. In order to demonstrate various features, we use a real sentence between backticks instead of camel case to provide expressive test function names. Sorry. JUnit 5 allows to inject constructor and method parameters, which is good fit with Kotlin read-only and non-nullable properties. This code leverages get for object and get for entity Kotlin extensions. You need to import them. Cool. So inside test, I don't know. A common example. Let me just grab a new Kotlin class. Yeah. Sometimes you need to execute a method before or after all of a given class, like JUnit 4 and JUnit 5 requires by default these methods to be static, which translates to companion object in Kotlin, which is quite verbose and not straightforward because the test classes are instantiated one time per test. But JUnit 5 allows you to change this default behavior and instantiate test classes one time per class. This can be done in various ways. Here we will use a property file to change the default behavior of the whole project. So inside of test, I want to make a resources file. Directory. Resources. Can I not? Oh, that's annoying. Ooh, it's struggling to index right now. With this configuration, we can now use before all and after all annotations and regular methods like shown in the updated version of integration tests above. So inside of integration tests, I can just doink this in, can't I? There we are. Creating your own extensions. Instead of using util classes or abstract methods like in Java, it is usual in Kotlin to provide such functionalities via Kotlin extensions. Here we are going to add a format function to existing local datetime type in order to generate text with English datetime format. Okay, so if I go back a bit, it needs to be in here, there we are, and then a new Kotlin class, extensions. There. We will leverage these extensions in the next section. Persistence for JPA. In order to make lazy fetching work, in order to make lazy fetching work as expected, this is a typo. Entity should be open as described in KT28525. I'm guessing this is, yeah, it's an issue on JetBrains Okay, you're going to use a Kotlin all open plugin for that purpose with Gradle. Okay. So I just need this. Let me grab this. Chuck it into plugins. Cool beans, and then I just need to plug this. Let me plug this right there. There. Oh, amazing. Don't really care about that. Then we create our model by using Kotlin primary constructor concise syntax, which allows you to declare at the same time the properties and constructor parameters. So inside here, I need to make an entities.kt. Entities, there. Copy. Let me just command V. Let me just redo this. Just checking I haven't broken anything, because there might be some type of dependency resolution issue. Yeah, there we are. What's wrong? So it's saying that in here I need to use Kotlin Gradle plugin API. Let me just variant Gradle 70. Don't ask again. Has attributes library, external, standard, version 7.1, 7.6. Okay, so which? Okay. Could not resolve 1.7.22. Ooh, I think I know what I can do. Is this? It would have also been fixed if I just changed the other two to 1.8 point whatever. But I was like, I don't want to fuck with that right now. I'll just fix it. Notice that we are using string.toSlug extension to provide a default argument to the slug parameter. I just need to check everything to make sure nothing is like completely broken. Analyzing, come on. Entities, extensions, HTML controller, this one, and this one. Nice. Come on then. Where are all the issues? Problems. Wonderful. What's the issue? Let me just do. Cool. That's done that one. There we are. Let me just run a build. I'm building because building is the easiest way to know if any classes have issues. Optional parameters with default values are defined at the last position in order to make it possible to omit them when using positional arguments. Notice that Kotlin is not unusual to group concise class declaration in the same file. Ooh, I knew it. Interesting. Why can't it find you? There we are. Here we don't use data classes with val properties because JPA is not designed to work with mutable classes. Which one? Come on. Jakarta. There we go. Let me just build again. Oh, it's this one, isn't it? Okay. Import. Any other problems? No, I don't think there is. Let me just do another build. See what's broken next. Most of them are designed to support such constructs, so you should use classes like when using Spring Data MongoDB, Spring Data JDBC, etc. While Spring Data JPA makes it possible to use natural IDs, it could happen. Nice. Login property in the user class via persistable is not good fit with Kotlin due to that's why it's recommended to always use entities with generated IDs in Kotlin. We also declare Spring JPA properties as follows. Inside here, if I a lot happier that this is going a lot better than the bloody O-Wolf ones. Nope. Repositories. There we go. Copy. Command V. Oh, did that fix it above? Cool. And we write GPA test to check whether basic use cases work as expected. So inside test, inside here, I want a repositories test. Repositories test. Ah, shit. Where is it? There should be a refactor, rename. Come on. Nope. We use here the card repository find by ID or null, Kotlin extension provided by default with Spring Data, which is a nullable variable not optional, based found by ID. Cool. Implement blog gen. Okay, so blog.mustache, which is in resources, templates, blog. Let me just CP this. There we go. And we create an article one now. Article.mustache. Let me control paste this. We update the HTML controller in order to render the blog and article pages. So insert this. With the format date, article repository and markdown converter constructor parameters will be automatically auto-wired since HTML controller has a single constructor, implicit auto-wired. Cool. So this one needs that. This one needs oop. This one needs import. I think that's it for this class. Let me just check. Yep, that should be fine. Cool. Then we add initialization to a new block configuration. I wish it would also import. You know what, let me just start from the top. Cool. Notice the usage of name parameters to make the code more readable. Well, yeah, that's the whole point of using name parameters. Integration tests. Let me just copy this. I cannot be asked to write it out myself. Done. Okay, let's see, is there any dependency issues? No? Cool. Start or restart the application, go to. Okay, cool. So if I go to, I think it's this one? Yeah. Let me run this. Just got to give it a wee bit. I don't know if it's done, but we can check. Nice. And then clicking on one, I don't know if I'll have the article page. Yeah, it went. But for a first step, that's pretty good. Exposing the HTTP API, we are now going to implement the HTTP API via REST controller and associated controllers. So, inside of this new Kotlin, we want a HTTP controllers. Copy and paste that. I need to do some dependency resolution. I said some, but I don't know what. Let's see, is it going to make me do HTTP or do I have to go all over it myself? Yep, nice. That should be it. Cool. For tests, instead of integration tests, we are going to leverage web MVC test and mock, which is similar to Mockito but better suited for Kotlin. Okay, fair enough. Since mock bean and spy bean annotations are specific to Mockito, we are going to leverage Spring Mock, which provides similar mock bean and spike bean annotation for mock with Gradle. Interesting. So inside here, it's asking for test implementation. Oh, I could probably just copy this, so it's not there already. Oh wait. That's web starter test, right? So that would replace this. Right? HTTP controllers test. I just need to wait for the Gradle to finish. I don't know if it's going to be happy though. Nice, cool. It looks like it's good. HTTP controllers test. Come on. There we are. Oh god. No, not safe delete. I swear, sometimes IntelliJ is weird. Why does it need me to create it? It should be in there. Hang on. No, oh, for God damn. Bloody hell. Why is it not there? Oh my days. Oh god. And do I have to keep my mouse there? Yes, I do. That's painful. Import function. Import class. I'm gonna leave that until last. Why aren't you there? Why can't I find webtoon? Oh, don't do this again. Import function get. Oh god. You know what I gotta do then? Where is it? There we are. I will one day not have to go to their GitHub to figure out what imports I need. Alright, let's take a look. SRC. Oh no, I need tester now. I need this one. I need this one. Cool, let me just grab these. Ooh, interesting, it doesn't need this one. In Kotlin, the recommended way to manage your application properties is to use read-only parameters. Read-only properties. Blog properties. There. Then we name it in blog application. Is this because it's a class? It should not be because it's a class. No way. It has a... Never mind. I just need this one. There we are. So this plugin needs to go here. It's not this, is 7.22, right? Then I need this dependency. Yeah, I'll just check it out. Yeah, 100% doesn't like that. Did that do it fine? I don't know if it did. It done it fine. That's sick. Anyway, note that some features such as detecting default value or deprecated items are not working due to limitations in model cap provides. Also, annotation processing is not yet supported, but may have been due to. Okay. Make sure Spring Boot plugin is enabled in menu files. Okay. Enable annotation processing for your menu files. Okay. Not yet integrated. You need to run manually the command. Oh my god. So I need to go to File. Where is it? Settings. I'm glad that I at least knows I'm going to be using IntelliJ for this. Oh god, I need to install the IntelliJ plugin, don't I? It's gonna ask me to restart, isn't it? I mean the Spring Boot plugin, isn't it? It's paid. Lads, it's paid. Oh, bloody hell. Downloads. Spring Boot Assistant, is this the one? Plugins, yeah. Bruv, what the hell? Where's Spring Boot in here? No, not there. I'm just gonna accept the L. So it wants file, settings, build, execution, deployment, compiler, annotation, processing. There we go. And then enable annotation processing. Cool. Okay. And then I need to run grade w cat Kotlin. Blog.mustache. There we are. Oh wait, hang on. Header articles. Banner. Footer. I think this just wants it above, right? Like, I'm pretty sure it just wants that, right? Cool. So now if I go into this one, run. Let's see what happens. Ooh, interesting. I don't know what's gonna happen. If it works, it's going on my GitHub. If it doesn't work, well, nice. This not working. This is not working either. Why isn't it working? Oh, I think I know why it might be. Okay, hang on. Let me fix this. Let me try this again. It's surprising that I didn't complain about that. At runtime, I mean. But actually, no, it wouldn't, because unless you actually activate it, it won't run. That makes sense. What's wrong with this? No, so this 100% needs Jakarta up. It 100% needs it. What the hell? Interesting though. It needs it, it just doesn't load it, which is interesting. Anyway, so if I reload this, let me see what the HTML controller says. Article slug. Okay. HTML controller is, there's an API and an API user. This should return lorem ipsum. So what's wrong with this? Hang on. Article, no. Let's try slash API. API article. Nah. API user. Nah. Interesting. What's in my operation practice? No. J-Do. Hang on. No. User works. How do I access the other one? But how do I access it? Obviously, if I was able to access it, I would be able to just go there, right? But that's not happening. Let me try. I don't know if this will work. Nah. I thought I could pass it in as a parameter. I would try user. Nah. Interesting. Do I want to put this on my GitHub? I don't know if I do, you know? Like, hang on. If I go on the other Spring projects that are on my GitHub, of course you will not find it like that. There we are. Let's have a look. Repos. Payroll. I don't even know if payroll was good, you know. What did I do in this one? This is the API, right? Yeah, it was the API. I didn't have any author. That was pretty good. But all of it was working. From what I remember, all of it was working, right? Yeah, all of it was working. That sucks. Okay, I'm not gonna upload this to my GitHub. Obviously, I'm gonna keep the live stream up. I'm just not gonna upload this to my GitHub because I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be able to go to one of those pages and it's supposed to like send you back to serve you that article, which for some reason just isn't being served. Let me just check actually. Blog config. Yeah, it has content. If I go to, it's still running, isn't it? Yeah, it's not showing me the content. So there's something wrong, definitely. No, there's an article as well. No, there's definitely, it exists. I don't know. But I'm not gonna upload it to my GitHub just because it's not fully working. If it was, I would, but this video is evidence enough that I worked through it. Thoughts on the... Let's do a who, what, when, where, why, how, okay? How did this go? I think it went pretty good. Besides that little hiccup with the Gradle stuff, pretty decent. I only had to check the... Oh, and the imports, but that's my bad, just because my ID is being stupid. So I'm not going to blame that on this article. think this was pretty good, honestly. It has you do some integration tests, it has you using Gradle, Spring Boot, has you doing some JUnit, shows you both Gradle and Maven, which I've been complaining about for like how long, that they should just include both or like have a toggle or something. Amazing for the tutorial to actually have everything, right? Has you doing some JUnit, has everything laid out for you. What else? Overall, I think it was pretty good. Don't really have a complaint about this. What went well? Pretty much so did. Looks really good. What didn't go well? Article resolution, but that might be just an issue with me or the version I am using, as you did see some dependency resolution with Gradle, so I'm not going to blame that on this tutorial because it's half working, half not. So that's not really like on this tutorial. It is working, so I'm not going to fault that. It's just it's not fully working, which is why I'm not going to upload this to my GitHub. But it is still good to go through because if you haven't used JUnit before, you haven't used Kotlin before, some of this stuff will be foreign to you, and just looking at it and like trying to muddle your way through and trying to understand it, pretty decent. I think that covers like who this is good for. Where the where doesn't really apply. Who? What is this about? Like, you just only do this, but so I'm gonna skip the what. Who, what, when, where. When doesn't really apply. How. Oh, why? Yeah, why doesn't really apply either. Besides that, I think this is a pretty good tutorial. Would I recommend this to anybody else? This tutorial specifically, probably. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I would. Just because it has you do some JUnit stuff. You're not writing it yourself, but you could just write it yourself, and you would learn quite a bit. That's variable initialization, not really that useful. Using a mock, using something for mocking, decent. Like, that isn't really covered in like most tutorials. Then this JUnit stuff, pretty decent. I would recommend it, yeah. What would I do to improve this tutorial? I wouldn't really do anything to improve it, to be honest. There was some dependency resolution stuff, but I'm not going to blame that on the tutorial because that's probably just me, or like I haven't done something correctly even though I was copy pasting over. Like I might be missing something, or like there might be an import that I got wrong, which is like fair enough. That's just user error. Nothing really to complain about, honestly. Other than that, I think it's pretty good. I would recommend this to other people. I say give this one a try at least. Give the REST API one a try because that one's really good. And give this one a try because you don't have to faff with the front end. You don't have to do any of that. It just does it for you. And you also, oh yeah, I forgot, you're also using the Hibernate, so that's another thing that's like a plus. Because the API one also has you using Hibernate, so it like directly links that you're using RM. So yeah, I 100% recommend this. And it's also got an API, so this is like an extended version of the API one. Yeah, 100% recommend this one. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, enjoy the rest of your day, and peace.